So apparently there's an update to the video that I just put out a few days ago, my second video. In it, I was talking about how Netflix is in a potential agreement to buy Warner Brothers Discovery for some obscene amount of money. Well, it seems like there's been a wrinkle thrown into that plan. A couple days ago, Donald Trump was in the Oval Office and he was bad-mouthing this potential deal, saying that Netflix shouldn't be able to go through with it. And I actually agree with him if that's where he left it. But of course, that isn't where he left it. Donald Trump always has an ulterior motive. I wasn't sure exactly what his ulterior motive was when he said that, but I knew he had to have one. Well, here it is a few days later, and now we know exactly what that motive is. He wants his son-in-law to own part of Warner Brothers Discovery. What a shock. He's in it for himself and his family. What else is new? This new deal is being spearheaded by Paramount. The current head of Paramount is David Ellison. He is the son of billionaire Larry Ellison. He's the founder of Oracle. He's a friend of Donald Trump. He owns 98% of the Hawaiian island of Lanai and apparently acts like a little king. Of course. Of course he acts like a king. They all want to. Everyone surrounding Donald Trump wants to. But I digress. David Ellison, he owns CBS. He's the one that put Barry Weiss in as the editor-in-chief. I used to consider CBS News a trusted source for news, and now I've completely unfollowed them on all my social media because you cannot trust a word that Barry Weiss says. It's a shame that one by one all of our media companies are being completely destroyed by right-wing freaks. But if everyone gets their way, David Ellison will take another one. He'll take Warner Brothers and Discovery and everything that they own. That'll make him in charge of CNN too, I believe. This deal that Paramount has put together, I think, is over $100 billion. Of course, Paramount doesn't have that kind of money, so they've got a bunch of partners who have joined them. This includes Citibank, Bank of America, the Apollo Global Management, which is Jared Kushner's company, and maybe most troubling of all, it includes 3 sovereign wealth funds. These funds are from Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. Together, they want to buy Warner Brothers and Discovery and turn it into another right-wing cesspit. There's a few issues with this. I've already talked about David Ellison and the fact that his father's a weird freak billionaire wannabe king. There's an obvious problem with Jared Kushner being involved in this deal. Donald Trump always has to stick his nose into everything. He always wants a cut of everything, and there's no doubt that if this deal goes through, Donald Trump will get something out of it. That's the way he does business. He's like a mob boss. What I find most troubling are the sovereign wealth funds. Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia, these are not good countries. I know they are technically allies of the United States, but they really shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be. Qatar is the least egregious of the 3, but that's not really saying much. All 3 of these countries treat women like shit. They treat gay people like shit. They treat everyone who isn't a Muslim like shit, really. You hear all the time about immigrants going to work in their countries and dying by the hundreds or the thousands because of poor working conditions. But they don't care because it's not their people, so they're expendable. The United Arab Emirates are arming rebel groups in Yemen. That's causing a lot of hostilities in that country. They're taking U.S. weapons and sending them off to Sudan. Basically a genocide going on over there. They pretend to be a peaceful country, but they do fund a lot of insurgent groups. I have no doubt that the billions of dollars of weapons we sell them, they're trying to reverse engineer so they can sell to other people and cut us out. We shouldn't be selling weapons to these countries at all. I think we should be keeping them to ourselves, but that's an entirely different conversation. And then last and least, we've got Saudi Arabia, the worst of them all. Their sovereign wealth fund is spearheaded by Mohammed bin Salman, who is a butcher. It was at the order of Mohammed bin Salman that Jamal Khashoggi was butchered. They dismembered this man while he was alive. They put on headphones and listened to music so they could drown out the screaming of this man while they cut him up while he was still alive. I'm pretty sure they brought Mohammed bin Salman the fingers of Jamal Khashoggi when they were done, as proof that they had done it. He's a madman. He's a psychopath, killer, butcher, who Donald Trump just defended in the White House saying he had nothing to do with it. If we lived in a world with justice, Mohammed bin Salman would hang from the gallows. And he's the head of the wealth fund. I'm not sure if he's the head of the fund on paper, but for all intents and purposes, he might as well be. I also find it really disturbing that we have such a good relationship with Saudi Arabia, given that they were the ones who were mostly involved in 9/11. I think it's something like 29 out of the 33 hijackers were Saudis. You know, Osama bin Laden, the bin Laden family has close ties with the Saudi royal family. They're a Saudi family, and this is who the United States is in bed with. Saudi Arabia owns part of Live Nation. They own, I believe, part of the PGA. You cannot watch a Formula One race without seeing their oil company signs all over the place. They just made this massive deal to buy Electronic Arts. That was also with Jared Kushner. So now Madden and NBA 2K and The Sims and Battlefield, those are all going to be Saudi Arabian. And if they get their way, pretty soon they'll also own CNN and Warner Brothers and Paramount and HBO and every other company that is a subsidiary of them. We are literally watching the greediest people on earth fight over everything. They're fighting over a bunch of American companies because this country is for sale, and Saudi Arabia seems to be the buyer again and again and again and again. I think this is something that we really need to get a hold of now. We do not need this country owned by Saudi Arabia. We don't need it owned by the United Arab Emirates. We do not need it owned by fucking Jared Kushner or David Ellison or Larry Ellison or Donald Trump. I cannot think of a worse world. And that is exactly the direction that we're going in. Every day it seems like there's something else like this. Another billion-dollar merger that shouldn't be allowed. Usually got Saudi Arabia involved. We are watching the decline of this country in real time. And it seems like no one gives a damn. We are watching the complete monopolization of industries across the board. And no one's going to do a damn thing to stop it.